All right, let's welcome to the Misfit Nation, Paul Huszar. He's the CEO of VetCor and Team VetCor, retired Army officer at Seance. He's on a mission to create sustainable opportunities for veterans, both employment and business. How are you doing, Paul?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Rich. Appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. Once I seen you were an Army veteran, I said, I got to get him on. I would have loved to have you on before the Army-Navy game. It might have gave us a little, push over the goal line last weekend. But again, I have to listen to my brother for another year.
Oh, man, it was a rough weekend because we have our company holiday party in conjunction. We hosted our building here with VetCor, and I am and another one of my teammates here is a West Point grad. Because what better day to have a holiday party for a company called VetCor than in conjunction with the Army-Navy game? And I took a lot of flack for that, brother.
I bet. So every time I was deployed, when the Navy was on there with a 14-year streak or whatever, my brother, he was a Navy guy, he'd somehow find me and be able to tell me that we lost. I'm like, hey, thanks. I'm in Korea. This is wonderful. I'm in Ramadi. This is awesome.
But yeah, that was a bit of a rough patch for us. So at least it's a rivalry. I mean, we were 8-3, they were 3-8, but on any given day with that rivalry, man, that's what's awesome about it. And now we're back on the same team again.
Yeah, for 11 months. So
that's good. Right.
And then we can go start setting the memes out again and make everything more comfortable for everybody again.
That's right, man. And I'm terrible about the memes. Like the whole week prior, I'm just and now I have a civilian network and people around. We're in Tampa and everybody's like, oh my God. Most of the civilians have no clue what's going on with that. They're laughing because I send out all the stupid memes.
And they just think we're nuts.
Yeah. Now this week just eating a little humble pie. That's all.
Well, that's all right. We're going to a bowl game. They're sitting home watching. We'll be all right.
Oh.
Well, all right, Paul. So if you'd like to just give us a little background on you so the audience gets to know you a little better, and then we'll get into what you're doing now.
Well, thanks, man. Yeah. So VetCor is it's in its essence, it's a restoration company. It's a for-profit company. And restoration, we help people solve like water damage challenges, mold remediation, fire, those types of things. And commercial and residential properties, mostly residential. But the thing that makes us unique is we primarily hire veterans as our service technicians. And now, a little over 2 years ago, we started franchising, and we primarily franchise the veterans. But our policy is we hire and we award franchises to veterans and those who share similar values. So you don't have to be a veteran, but you have to have those same types of values and believe in those, and also believe in our mission, which is to create sustainable, meaningful employment opportunities for our nation's heroes, and now business ownership opportunities through franchising. And I got started in this complete accident. I retired from active duty, moved to Tampa based on quality of life because I wanted to live here with my family. And like a lot of veterans, struggled with trying to find opportunities. And I was like, damn, if I'm struggling, I'm a West Point grad. I used to command a battalion, retired Army officer, licensed professional engineer. If I'm having a hard time, what's going on with the youngsters who had so much more responsibility compared to their peers, but nobody knows what they do? And I stumbled upon this opportunity to start this company. So I got hired to start it. About 8 months into it, I had the opportunity to buy it, become the owner. The guy who is the founder is still David Howard. He's a former Army officer and then spent 25 years in the insurance industry. And it's a great marriage between us. He's a great partner. He helped me buy the company away from his other partner there. And now he's a best advocate. He's a mentor and kind of civilian business world for me. And we've just grown it. And happy to talk more about any of that stuff, but that's kind of the short version of how we got here, and struggled like many other veterans. And now we're just trying to pay it forward and create opportunities for them.
That's definitely a happy accident to fall into this like that. And like you said, the struggle is definitely real for transitioning. Like you had every certificate possible, lieutenant colonel, so you went to command and staff, college, all that stuff. You had everything imaginable. Then you look at Joe coming out, maybe 7 years in, 8 years in, they walk out and they run into that wall. It's rough for them out there.
Yeah, I'll tell you, man, I one night I was leaving the office. I went to go meet my family for dinner in South Tampa, and had my VetCor polo shirt on, right? So people see that, they see the logo, and like, hey, what's that all about? So we're standing in line or finish eating this really nice restaurant, and this young guy goes to get my car at the valet. He's like, VetCor, what's that? And I tell him, he's like, I'm a veteran. It's like, I was a sergeant and now I'm parking cars because nobody knows what I can do and nobody appreciates this. And I was like, oh my God, it's so true. And you know, I spent a lot of time thinking about it, and I've done a presentation. I talked to now groups about hiring veterans and the value of veterans and things. And I studied it, and it's just, we're isolated, we're segregated from society. Only about 7% of the population are veterans. There's a misconception. It's less than 0.5% actually serve in the military right now, but 7%, which is still a small number, are actually veterans, have ever served. And as a result, and that number keeps getting smaller and smaller, right? Because we're the lowest military, the lowest it's ever been in the United States. The US population is rising. The veteran population is declining because it's an old population. And so we're going farther and farther and farther apart from, you know, the nation that we serve to protect and defend, and fewer people know who we are and what we do.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And when I came out, it was 365 days exactly before I found a job. People wouldn't hire me because they thought I wanted more money than I wanted. I just wanted a job. I wanted a purpose, and that's a lot of the veterans. I want a purpose. I want to get out there and do something. It's rough out there, and I know there's a stigma. Most veterans quit their first job. They get their first job out. They don't like it. They quit. How do you coach guys through that transition like that?
Yeah. So, I mean, one, we don't want handouts.
Right.
Hand up would be nice, right? Just an opportunity. And you talked about the stigma, you know, like the two most common words associated with veteran: disabled and homeless. And I'm tired of it, man, because we are capable, strong, great teammates. And so what I tell people is, you got to be able to see yourself first and understand kind of how everybody else sees you. Understand that there are these myths out there, understand what the stigmas are, and then, you know, work your ass off to defeat those stigmas and to prove people otherwise. And so, like, a couple things, right? One, we all come with recipes for success. When you think about it, you know, there are 5 components of mission statement: who, what, where, when, why. If you get mission type orders, it's task and purpose, right? If you're doing, every time we do something, we do an after action review. What do? We assess what happened, why it happened, and how we can improve. When you think about those types of things that we come with, those recipes for success, who wouldn't want folks like us on their team, their organization, right? And so we just have to do a better job of selling ourselves. Here's the challenge though, right? You know, whether you were a young E1, you enlisted in the Army or, you know, any service, and then got out, you know, let's say you did a 4-year enlistment, so you got out when you were 22, or whether you're someone like me, you went to West Point when they were 18, got out 27 years later. Whether it was 27 years after 18 years old or 4 years after 18 years old, we both struggle with those same transition, and that is, we learned how to be an adult, because you're an adult when you're 18. You learned how to be an adult based on the cultures, norms, and values of the US military. And nobody tells you, in fact, they discourage you from being a spotlight ranger. We even have a term for it, right?
Yeah.
So then you get out and you're like, oh, here's a resume. What's a resume? A 1-page piece of paper where people, you know, expect you to kind of highlight yourself. Hey, here's how great I am, written in a one-page piece of paper, front and back. And here's why you should hire me. And then you get an interview and you get, you know, what, 15 minutes, 30 minutes to tell someone how great you are and why they should hire you. Is there any wonder why we suck at that? Right? Because if you did that in the military, some sergeant major would give you the knife hand and go, you know, you can't do that.
It's not about you. It's about the team. It's about the we, right?
That's right. And so we just have to have a better understanding of, hey, there's a reason we're wired this way. It's because how we learned how to be an adult. And so we just have to recognize that, know what our strengths are, know what our weaknesses are, see ourselves, and then go out and do a better job of integrating, because the society isn't going to integrate to us. We've got to integrate to them.
You know, we kind of do that little blending thing, blend in as much as possible without losing your own core values and such as you go forward. So that,
yeah. And that's what we're trying to do with VetCor, right? So we have still kind of the cultures, norms, and values of the US military, but we're a civilian business, but we're still representing, the brand known for timely, quality, reliable service and the value of veterans. To tell people, man, in our company, think about when the last time you had a service call of any kind, Rich, air conditioning repairman, cable guy.
Yeah.
When did that person tell you they're going to be at your house?
Usually they tell you they'll be here between X and X. It's like a 4-hour window.
How is that appropriate?
It's
right?
horrible.
Right? So we're a veteran. Let's try this. A veteran on time is late,
Yes.
and early is on time,
Fine.
right? And you take any veteran, any veteran, because if you're a veteran, it means you did one tour duty at least. So you probably got out as at least senior E4, maybe E5. I don't know any veterans in that capacity that can't get a group of guys and a group of gals to be at the right place at the right time with the right kit to accomplish the mission. So this 4-hour window nonsense is just nonsense. It's people who don't know how to command and control small unit level operations and plan them, execute them.
And I think they overpromise and underdeliver is what I like to call what they do. And it's horrible from A to Z across. It could be delivery people, your furniture, your equipment in your house, everything. We had our maintenance for our annual thing for our warranty for our house. And the guy who does it's a veteran. He told me he'd be here at 11 a.m. He was here at 9:30, sitting outside. Hey, I'm here. Can I do it? Hey, knock it out, bro.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, the reality is, practical nature is, you show up on time. You can screw up 10 more things during that visit, but people have such a terrible expectation of service contractors now. They just expect you to be late,
Right.
and that's just terrible. So it's a huge advantage to us, and really, that's what our brand represents, right? It represents people who show up fit, polite, on time, treat you with dignity and respect. They're in uniform. They call you sir. They call you ma'am. They wipe their shoes off before they enter your house because they respect your property. They respect your time. That's just how we're wired. And that's just a huge advantage in the service industry. And it's why we're doing so well.
Definitely. And your plan for VetCor is remediation, you said earlier. So kind of like there's a competition out there, that's Serve Pro, whatever, like there.
Yep.
In this region. So are you nationwide now? Are you regional?
So we started in Florida. We have 6 franchises in Florida. We have 2 in Texas, 1 in New York, 1 in Georgia, and 1 in Virginia. Getting ready to award 1 in Ohio and 1 in Kentucky. So our strategy has been Florida first because that's where we started. We're a preferred vendor for over 60 insurance carriers here. We're also a preferred vendor for 8 TPAs, third-party administrators. And of those 60 carriers, about 10 of them are national carriers. So we have the ability to go nationwide. It won't be as easy because we don't have nearly as many clients as we do in Florida, but we have the ability. So what we said is our focus is Florida first, but if veterans find us, and because they believe in the mission and we think that they're the right people to be a pioneer in the state, and they understand what our mission is, they understand what they need to do to kind of penetrate that state. I like to think of like sappers first, right? Breaching the obstacle, breaching into the state, and lead by example. If they're the right people to do that, then we'll kind of ride that horse, and we'll mutually go and kind of create, penetrate the market and establish new relationships there as well. So that's kind of how we've approached it, and so far so good.
As you leave, spread out from Florida, let your tentacles get out there. The reputation of your business in Florida is going to follow you anyway. They're not just going to say, I'm going to hire you, but I'm going to look at your references. What'd you do in Florida? And they say, oh, they're really good. I'm going to stay with them. And that's why I want to stay with you.
Yep, that's right. Because it's a universal brand that we're establishing, right? And people understand that. Now we still have to prove it, but we've been proving it. And now we just, we're incrementally starting to prove it now in other states and other regions as we go. And we have the ability to do that nationwide. And it's a nationwide problem. Dishwashers, ice makers, hot water heaters, air conditioning units, roof leaks, as you get farther north, you get freeze and thaw, plumbing fixtures break, all those things, they happen all over the United States. People about disaster restoration, and we're in Florida, they think about hurricanes.
Right.
And that's a real deal, right? And when that happens, it literally, pun intended, becomes a rainmaker event for us because we end up putting a ton of roof tarps up and we have a ton of water damage and stuff. But all those things that I mentioned previously, those are the things that keep us in business all year round. And people aren't equipped to deal with it. They don't have an industrial sized shop vacs. They don't have the air movers, the dehumidifiers. And my COO, he's a retired sergeant major. He and I have known each other for 30 years. By the way, there's no one better to be your right-hand man. And we get that way because that's, again, how we're wired to help start a business than a retired sergeant major, right? Attention to detail to the max. He and I have the saying, we said, look, restoration is science, but it's not rocket science. And so as long as you're willing to learn and you're fit, polite, treat people with dignity and respect, et cetera. And that's most veterans because they're lifelong learners, right? They've been changing jobs and PCSing every 3 or 4 years. So they're forced to learn, they're forced to adapt, they're forced to continue to adopt a new radio system or a new weapon system and, technological changes as well. And so we can get darn near any veteran, as long as they possess those characteristics, into a sustainable, meaningful career. And then they can grow. They can be a water technician, then they can be a fire technician and mold and biotrauma crime scene. Kind of like, the E1, the E4 specialist, right? Or back in the day, they had Spec 9s.
Right.
So you can become technically more proficient, or you can grow and be a team leader, and then a deputy project manager, and then a project manager. And ideally, what I'd love to be able to do is create this kind of environment where then they could even become franchise owners. So they learn the business and they start, kind of saving for themselves. And then they learn how to apply for an SBA loan. And then, they go, oh man, if I do this here, working for someone else, I've learned the business. Now I can start my own business. Right. I can create financial freedom for me and my family. And you know what? Why shouldn't veterans who've given so much service to the country be the ones that actually be able to build wealth in their lives?
Exactly. That's an amazing viewpoint. And as they grow theirs, they're building to look back at football, their coaching tree. So they build their little brand and,
right.
And then they have their franchisees underneath them that build their own franchisees, and it just keeps growing and growing. Hopefully it keeps growing and growing. And then the end state is that everyone's successful and everyone's taking care of each other.
Yeah. And they're only going to hire more vets too. Right. And then I tell people, okay, close your eyes and imagine a disaster hitting the eastern seaboard of the United States, a hurricane, whatever. Who would you rather have? If you're an insurance executive, or you're a person that works at FEMA or a state or county emergency manager, who would you rather rely upon? A network of U.S. military veterans who run franchises in the disaster restoration business, or pick ServPro or one of the others?
Right.
Who would you rely on?
Come on, you show up on time, fit, and
not even fair.
Purpose, right? It's
not even fair
field right now. So you say franchising with purpose and franchising 101. If someone calls you and says, I'm thinking about franchising, where they go through something in your company to do this, and then they finally get to talk to you finally later when it comes to the final decision, what do you go through? What are the steps to get them into the franchise?
Yeah, we have a whole, first of all, if you're interested, connect with me, and you don't have to wait. Because we're still a small company, but I'm passionate about helping vets. So we have a whole series of free webinars that we do for Veterans 101. We'll do live webinars for franchising for veterans, those types of things. We have them posted on our YouTube channel. Connect with me, connect with my VP of Franchise Development, Mike Long. He's a former armor officer. Our Sergeant Major, COO, Scott Walden. Connect with any of us on any social media platform, and then we'll just see if it's a good fit. And if it's not a good fit, okay, we'll try and help you find a good fit, or we'll try and help you kind of apply our lessons learned just in transition in general, because we believe that if we're pure in those motives and we just want to help veterans succeed in their transition, that we're going to find the right fit, and we're going to find enough folks who will want to be VetCor franchisee teammates of ours, and so we just stay consistent with our mission to help vets.
That's a definitely great work, business model, I believe, there to keep the veteran focus, and also with your team. Your team is just strong from top down, so that helps out a lot in growing the bottom up. So in the middle, when you get to sit back, relax, and just watch it from a little bit of a distance, it'll be the glory days for you at that point.
Yeah, we've been franchising for 2 years now. And we were able to franchise because we had 3 offices here in Florida that I started this. I was hired to start it. My business partner, David Howard, is the founder. Then we grew 2 more offices. And so we were able to continue to franchise and expand that model because we've done really well responding to disasters in Florida. And so we kind of really outkicked our coverage. We made ourselves bigger than we are. We use the principles, you probably have heard them, RSOI, reception, staging, auto movement, integration. We use that to build combat power, to make ourselves bigger when hurricanes hit. So we had con plans on the shelf. We pulled the book out, said, here's how we're going to do. Here's how we're going to get more vehicles. We're going to rent white trucks from Enterprise. We're going to use temporary staffing, et cetera, et cetera. Well, so we applied those. Now, the last 2 years, we have franchises. Last 2 years, 2 years ago, 4 hurricanes hit the Gulf Coast. This past year, major hurricane hits New Orleans. Guess what? We sent a network of 4 franchisees and 5 subcontractors in New Orleans, and it was a contingency operation. They went there to help people, and we helped a ton of people out, and they got paid for it, right? And they're veterans, so they're like, hey man, we're just going to camp out underneath this bridge. Is this okay? One of our superstars found a sheriff that was driving by and said, hey, this is VetCor, we're all veterans here, but we're coming to New Orleans to help put up temporary roof tarps as many people as we can here. And we get all our assignments fed to us insurance companies, and then we go out. He's like, listen, man, I'll even patrol this area extra for you guys, knowing that you guys are here. Leave your tents right here. They're good. You guys just go help people.
Outstanding. 2 high-speed specialists probably out there. Got that going for you. That's good. So when they come on as a franchisee, they make their initial investment. You now are investing in them with the leadership classes, business 101. What all do they get with the franchises? Like a truck or just a computer business plan? I'm sure. What all do they get?
Yeah, so franchising in its essence is really the right to own, the right to use the intellectual property, the operations manual, so the brand, right, the logo and everything in a specific geography. And we talk about this in our franchising 101. So with that comes 2 sets of training. A phase 1 training where they come to Tampa for a week and they work there, they stay and get trained at our VetCor Training Academy here in this building. And that's really how to be a small business owner, kind of generically, right? And understanding all the purpose, the why behind VetCor and all that stuff. Then they go back and they start to they've got to plan all their vehicles. Typically they got to purchase 2 or 3 vehicles, purchase or lease. They've got purchased about anywhere between $80,000 and $100,000 in equipment. That's drying equipment, tools, supplies. You don't have to have your own money. You can use other people's money. We're preferred franchisor from the SBA, Small Business Administration. So you can get an SBA loan that's amortized over 10 years. We help you through all that, connect you with preferred vendors and partners from ours that can make this far more simplified than it initially sounds. And then you come back for phase 2, which is 2 weeks right before your grand opening with your team, your technicians that you've hired. So we don't want you to hire your technicians until right before grand opening, so that you're minimizing your cash burn. Excuse me. And then that last 2 weeks is how to be a restoration company owner. Your technicians come to the VetCor Training Academy. They're taught by Scott Walden, our Chief Operating Officer, retired Sergeant Major, none finer at individual training. And they become water damage restoration technician certified, because he's a certified trainer now. And then you go back, now you're ready for grand opening. And then we have a grand opening, which is like a unit activation ceremony.
Nice.
We unfurl the guidon, because everybody who is awarded a VetCor franchise is a specific naming convention. The color of the guidon is based on the service that you were in. Or if you're a civilian, you get a yellow guidon, because it's like a yellow ribbon supporting veterans. And we unfurl the guidon, like we activate a unit, and now you're open, but you're trained and you're credentialed with all these clients, and now you're ready to go.
That's outstanding. That's a good train up for them. As I was going through my 365 days of doing nothing, basically trying to figure out what to do with my hands again, I was reached out to by some enterprise, entrepreneurism. They wanted me to franchise. They kept calling me every week with 3 different franchises. I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing right now, but talk me through. And There's one that kind of piqued my interest, but then I had to drive go all the way to Long Island, New York to find him, to sit with him, and he wasn't really welcoming to me. I was like, I'm good with this. I'll just find a job somewhere. And I walked away. It seems like you actually put that arm out and you put your arm around his shoulder and said, listen, buddy, I got you. We're going to take you through this step by step and help you out.
The essence of franchising is that you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself, right? So you think about it, it's like when we explain, like when we deploy, right? We create a territory, we create an AO, area of operations. You have graphic control measures. So you got a unit to the left and the right. Well, they're not units, they're franchises, they're teammates, right? And so our franchisees share lessons learned, share best practices. Every month I have a Zoom call with all of our 11 franchisees. We talk about, hey, here's what's going on in the system, share best practices, those types of things, because it's a team. And the better that the franchisee does on the left and the right of you, the better the reputation is of the brand. And so the better you do. And the better the brand does, whenever it comes time, inevitably somebody's going to sell their business, the better brand equity you have, the higher value you're going to get when you sell your business, et cetera. Plus, the better the reputation is, the more insurance companies we're going to get. And so it's a win-win-win. The pie gets bigger for everybody. And it's a full team approach. There's no competitors here on our team. We all want to see each other succeed and succeed wildly.
That's the best way to do it. And by building each other, you kind of pushing people away from those other competitors that are actually out there. You're not competing, you should not be competing with yourselves at all. Hopefully they don't have that competitive mindset where I have to beat everyone on my left and right as well, but keep moving forward and not chase awards, just chase the contracts. And that's the best way to get this done. How do people get in contact with you to maybe start this process?
Yeah, so one, you can reach out to me. I'm a social media hog because I love talking about veterans, the value of veterans. So I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Huszar, Huszar. Not hard to find on any of those social media platforms. And then our website is simply VetCor, VetCor services.com. There's also a link from that website where you can to our YouTube channel, where you can watch all the informational videos, et cetera. There's also a link to VetCor franchising, where you can get fill out a small form and can get more information. That starts the process if you're interested in a franchise opportunity. So what I tell people is, man, if you're a veteran or a veteran advocate or a veteran's family member, and you're looking for help in transition, entrepreneurship, business ownership, franchising, and all those three of those things are different, by the way. Reach out to us, connect with us on primarily LinkedIn, because that's the easiest and best way for kind of professional transition advice and stuff. That's where we have the most content posted on there, and then you get the benefit of our network. When I was a transitioning lieutenant colonel, I didn't know anybody. I had a profile of 0, and now I'm a CEO of a successful company. I don't know, it's got upwards of 6,000 contacts on LinkedIn. And so, if you're transitioning, you connect with them. Now all of a sudden you have 6,000, right? Because the way the network works, right? And I want you to use my network for good, because it's the benefit that I didn't have when I transitioned.
I was saying that's something when I was transitioning, I was taught, if you're not linked in, you're linked out.
That's right. Yep.
And I started building mine. I got rid of everything that looked Army on there, no Army picture, no Army doctrine on there. I tried to make myself look more civilian than military to make myself a better sell. And so far it's doing well.
Have you heard this one? Networking is one letter away from not working.
Network. Write that one down. That's a good one right there. Well, Paul,
so we got to do it. We're not good at it, man.
Yeah.
Because we think it's schmoozing, but it's not. It's professionalism. Think about, for the military folks out there, think about, what did you do when you need something from the supply sergeant? You schmoozed them, right? You got to schmooze this, and they grease the skids in the system, right? That's what networking is. It's getting to know people, creating relationships, then how you can help one another.
And this is another thing I learned is, if you don't ask another veteran, you're never going to find out other things that are out there, because no one's just going to come tell you. You have to ask those questions. What is available for me in this area? What's available to me from this company? How can I get in that company? And that's another veteran will say, I got you, back door. We're coming in here. We'll get you in there and knock this out.
And now you got an insider champion to help you out, man. Yep.
Exactly. Well, Paul, thanks for taking some of your time to be on the Misfit Nation. Appreciate everything you're doing for veterans with VetCor, and I look forward to seeing you again in the future.
Thanks, my brother. Rich, I really appreciate everything that you are doing for veterans. This is awesome. Keep it up, man. You got great content. You got great help for veterans. And if there's anything I can ever do for you, I look forward to staying connected. And thanks again, my brother.
Awesome. Thank you.